Members of the African intelligentsia, you remember this.
I don't know if you watched the body language, but General Michael Langley is either drunk or laced or both, but not prepared at all as far as the questions that were thrown at him and his ability to really answer them honestly, whether it was at the Senate Armed Services Committee hearing where he made those remarks about Traore, or whether it was his recent visit to Ivory Coast. But every time you see Michael Langley appearing somewhere, you see a whole lineup of white chiefs of defense behind him. That means he himself is a puppet, and they are the ones pulling the strings, but from right under him. My assessment is that Michael Langley will soon be replaced because he has outlived his usefulness. He will soon be replaced. This interview was a disaster, a complete disaster. He looked like he was on the back foot with this interview. And so what's going to happen is that Michael Langley is most likely going to fade out into a white commander. Or else they might replace him with another black one for the time being until they can get African chiefs of defense to sign everything, to get African chiefs of defense and heads of state on board with everything they want to do. And once they've signed those agreements with a black-faced general, then when they replace the black-faced general with a white-faced general, then they will be like, yes, you signed these agreements not with Michael Langley or with whosoever, but you signed these agreements with Africom, and that's the United States Command, that's the United States African Command. And so you have to abide by these agreements. That's the point of putting a black face over Africom. But you look to see Michael Langley replaced here shortly, because they will say that, man, it looks like you're not able to really handle this.
Members of the African intelligentsia, that was 11 days ago, approximately, on the 28th of May. And approximately 1 week later, on the 4th of June, Air and Space Forces magazine was the first to announce that Donald Trump had appointed a new general to lead Africom, Dagvin R.M. Anderson, Lieutenant General Dagvin R.M. Anderson will now be heading Africom. There's something in the US military called military bearing. Military bearing. And your military bearing is the way you comport yourself. Michael Langley's performance in that interview with Citizen TV Kenya would be described as his having lost his military bearing. One of the things that the US military is big on is presentation. They like to be able to project strength. And Michael Langley's performance almost disgraced the US military, almost emasculated the US military in the way he presented himself as weak and unprofessional. And I'm not surprised that Donald Trump himself, being a man that likes to project strength, even though he's not he's not a military man, but he might as well be. This man likes to project strength. He can smell weakness from a mile away. And so he is replacing Michael Langley with someone that he thinks can not only handle the job, but can represent the United States of America and its agenda in the world, on the continent, with strength. I don't think it's lost on the leaders of the US military either that Michael Langley is grossly unpopular on this continent. So, yes, members of the African intelligentsia, he absolutely outlived his usefulness. And now he is being replaced with that white face that can project American strength and that can handle the situation decisively. If there's one word I can use to describe Donald Trump, he's decisive. He's decisive. He doesn't go back and forth with things. He's decisive. Right or wrong, good, bad, or indifferent, he's decisive. This was a difficult assignment for Michael Langley. It put him in an awkward position. And the exact reason why they put him in that position is exactly what failed him. By reason of the color of his skin, Africans were expecting him to be on their side. And that expectation troubled him day and night because he knew that that's not the mandate he carried. His job was to represent American interests. And more difficult than that is that he's a military man. He's not even a diplomat. He's a military man. That means he himself, even as a general, is under orders. Members of the African intelligentsia, Michael Langley was not his own man. He was under orders. And he was only doing what he had been ordered to do. And so I can only imagine why he was drinking so much. He was conflicted. He was conflicted. He's not stupid. He knows that he's a black man and that on the continent, his people here were expecting him to pursue their interest. If you say you're here to help us, then help us. And so the expectations from the continent conflicted with the expectations of his bosses. And he was caught in the middle. And there was no way out. So that's what has happened here. But I won't read from Air and Space Forces magazine. I'll read from a story that's a lot more comprehensive in terms of who he is and what kind of expertise he brings to the field, to the position. And the kind of expertise that he brings to the position tells you exactly what is ahead for Africom's operations on this continent. Take a listen. President Donald Trump has nominated new commanders for two pivotal combatant commands: U.S. Africa Command, Africom, and U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM. Vice Admiral Brad Cooper has been nominated to lead CENTCOM, succeeding Army General Michael E. Kurilla, who has served since April 2022. Cooper, currently the deputy commander of CENTCOM, brings extensive experience in Middle Eastern operations. So Donald Trump is making some changes based on what's going on in the world. And he has nominated new commanders for two major American command centers. That's the Central Command, otherwise known as CENTCOM, and the Africa Command, otherwise known as Africom. So this Brad Cooper is coming to the helm of CENTCOM, the Central Command, bringing extensive experience in Middle Eastern operations. So you see what's happening in the Gaza Strip there, and Donald Trump is bringing in someone that he believes can handle the situation. We'll skip further down. Simultaneously, Air Force Lieutenant General Dagvin R.M. Anderson has been nominated to command Africom, replacing Marine General Michael E. Langley, who has led the command since August 2022. Anderson currently serves as the Director of Joint Force Development on the Joint Staff. I want you to pay particular attention to this. Lieutenant General Dagvin R.M. Anderson, who has been nominated to command Africom. His prior roles include commanding Special Operations Command Africa and leading the task force responsible for repositioning U.S. forces from Somalia. This man has been here before. He has been here before. I'll read that again. His prior roles include commanding special operations. Let's stop there. This man is a specialist in special operations. In fact, he's an expert in special operations. And when I think about the Sahel and everything they want to do out there, I think special operations. That's important. With over 3,400 flight hours, including 738 hours in combat, Anderson's nomination marks the first time an Air Force general would lead Africom since its establishment in 2007. So they're letting us know that this new general, Michael Langley, was a Marine. You know, the Marines, frontline guys, ground combat experts. They're bringing in an Air Force general who has 3,400 flight hours, including 738 of those hours in combat. Yes. So if we assume that AFRICOM's agenda that we saw Michael Langley preparing to execute is still in the works, is still on the table, then this takes that fight to a whole new level. Because the general that they're bringing in has a specialty in special operations and a specialty in the command of air power. So you see Sahelian nations stocking up on drones and making sure they have their airspace covered. This man, this general, has a specialty in commanding special operations in Africa, for that matter, and 738 flying hours in combat. That's important to know. I'll close. These nominations reflect a strategic shift in U.S. military leadership, emphasizing the evolving nature of global threats and the need for diverse operational expertise. The Senate confirmation process for both nominees is pending. Well, I'm sure that the leaders of the Sahel, General Chiani, General Goita, and Captain Traore, will be taking notes and preparing accordingly.